Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be talking about something that gets a lot of scrutiny in today's politics and all of that, and we are going to be talking about campaign finance. Now, in this video and through this lesson, we are going to be focusing mainly on higher offices. We're going to be talking about like the president. We're going to be talking about like senators and representatives at the national level. Now, everything that I'm going to say applies to different degrees on lower offices, but most of this is going to focus on the higher offices. So, for instance, there's going to be a lot more campaign finance laws and regulations and all of that for someone that is running for president than, say, someone who's running for county commissioner. So, to start off, what is the FEC? The FEC stands for Federal Elections Commission. And now what this is an independent agency in charge of administering all laws dealing with federal elections. It is underfunded and understaffed. This is something that needs to be funded and staffed to a higher degree than it currently is, but it is just the current state of the world. Election laws. This require timely disclosures about the source of the money. Now, whenever someone makes a donation to a candidate for any office, they have to disclose that. And this places limits on campaign contributions. You can't just donate any amount of money. This also places limits on campaign expenditures, so it limits how much a campaign can spend, and provides public funding for several parts of the presidential election process. Here is a chart that talks about the different presidential campaigns and how much they spent on different things. So, as you can see, further back in history here, 1960, the amount that was spent on campaigning was relatively low, and it really didn't start taking off until we got to the year 2000, where spending really started to take off. Now, this is on advertising and marketing and that sort of thing. So as you can see further back, it didn't happen as much, but it is growing at a rapid rate. Now, this is for the Trump campaign in 2015. This is how much was spent based on category, and as you can tell, the highest amount of expenditures the Trump campaign had was in travel, by and far, almost double what the next lowest thing was, which was strategy consulting. And that's just a breakdown of how money was spent by that campaign. Alright, so we'll have another comparison here of total money raised and spent in 1992 versus 2016. In 1992, the Democrats spent $220 million compared to the Republicans' $176 million. And now this is for House of Representatives. So there's a breakdown of numbers from PACs, from individuals, and we'll get into what PACs are here in just a moment. And as we, just in this short amount of time between 1992 and 2016, we can see down here the Democrats spent $469 million as compared to the Republicans' $558 million. So, as you can tell, in our country, anybody can run for office, but it is a very expensive process, and everybody has to have donors. Now, it leads to two different types of money. It's called hard money and soft money. Hard money is given directly to the candidate for the purpose of use in an election. This is money that is given with a specific purpose directly to the candidate for their election. This is FEC regulated, meaning it has to be disclosed and publicized of how much money is given. But there's also what's called soft money, which is given to state and local party organizations for voting related activities. So this could be a donation to the Democratic Party. You're not donating it to a candidate, you're donating it to the party. So this is not FEC regulated, and this soft money is where a lot of conflicts of interest can come up. Now what do I mean by that? I'll get to that in just a moment. Where does money come from? Individuals is limited to $2,800 per election. But interest groups, or PACs, and I'll get to those in just a moment, are limited to $5,000 per election. Now, political parties also donate money, and government subsidies is also another form of money that is used in campaigns. Now, interest groups and PACs. Now, what are they? A political action committee, or a PAC, is a committee that raises and spends money to elect or defeat candidates, restricted in how much can be used to support specific candidates. That is a PAC. Now, there's also what is called a super PAC. A super PAC is a type of PAC that may raise and spend unlimited sums of money for advertisements to support or oppose political candidates. Unlike traditional PACs, super PACs may not donate money directly to candidates. So while a super PAC can't give money directly to one candidate or another, they can spend any amount of money to fund advertising. And that is where we see a lot of this rampant spending that has ramped up in recent years. And that's why a lot of super PACs people are worried about super PACs, because if you can raise and spend unlimited sums of money, well, the candidate sees that. And they know who spent that money. They know where that money comes from. So people are afraid, and rightfully so, that with these super PACs, which could be any group of people that gets together, usually they all have a common interest. And if they can raise and spend unlimited sums of money, and they have very wealthy backers, well, it opens up for corruption. If a candidate gets all this money and they know it all comes from one group of business owners, well, that candidate is going to feel that they kind of owe those people something. So they're going to have favorable people in government, and that is where a lot of corruption, a lot of conflict of interest comes from. Whenever the super PACs are able to spend millions of dollars to advertise their political candidate or to run attack ads against another candidate, that is where this starts to get ugly and murky. So here are two super PACs, and I'm sure if you've watched any sort of political ads, you've seen these little tiny fonts at the end of the advertisement. Now these are both attack ads from super PACs. This top one says, "Donald Trump, too reckless and dangerous." Now if you look at the small text underneath, it says, "Our Principals PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. OurPrinciplesPAC.com." So Our Principals PAC is a political action committee that raised money to run this ad. Down below we have dishonest attacks, the only strategy Obama has left. Paid for by Restore Our Future Incorporated, which is responsible for the content of this message, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee, and gives their website there. Both of those are ads from super PACs. And super PACs can run any number of these because they usually have very wealthy backers who have a lot of money to spend and usually have some sort of political agenda that they can use these ads to publicize and to earn favor from the candidate that they are advertising or the opponent of the candidate that they are running these attack ads. Both of these are attack ads because they're saying, pointing out bad things about each of these candidates at the time. Now some examples. of a political action committee. National Association of Realtors. These are people that buy and sell property. They raised $3.9 million, and of that money, they gave 42% of it to Democrats and 58% of it to Republicans. Now, there is a difference, but that is close to a 50-50 split. Now, if we go on down here to National Auto Dealers Association, they raised $2.6 million. Only 28% of that went to Democrats and 72% went to Republicans. Now, if we go on down to these super PACs, Priorities USA Action, that is a super PAC, and they raised $133 million, and they have a more liberal viewpoint. Right to Rise USA, $86 million, with a conservative viewpoint. Senate Leadership Fund, $85 million. Senate Majority PAC, $75 million, and their viewpoints are listed there. Now, these are concerning because all of this money has to come from somewhere. And whenever a person is elected, they can look at what super PACs supported them. And they'll say, oh, well, this group raised $133 million to support me. I should probably give them some preferential treatment. And it just opens up a lot of people being able to spend money to earn favor from political candidates. And this has become a major issue to our election process today, and is a major point of concern to many people. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today. Today we talked about PACs and super PACs, what the FEC is, and how some candidates are funded. So I hope everybody's having a great day, and I'll see you again real soon.